Must watch. 5 secrets. Every man must never tell women, she'll never see you the same. Let's get this straight. Some things are better left unsaid. And if you're a man who believes honesty is always the best policy, you might want to sit down and rethink that. Because not all truths are created equal. Here's the brutal truth. Some secrets, when spoken, don't make you stronger. They make you look weak. And whether people want to admit it or not, women judge weakness hard, especially emotional or psychological weakness. Society may tell men to open up, be transparent, or just be vulnerable. But here's the twist most won't say out loud. The same vulnerability that earns sympathy can instantly erase respect. Yes, this sounds controversial, because it is. This video isn't for men who live for validation. It's not for the please like me guys who believe that full disclosure leads to deeper love. It's for men who understand that relationships, like any game, have rules and strategy. And in this game, oversharing is not noble. It's self-sabotage. Why? Because women don't fall for men they feel sorry for. They fall for men they respect. Men who carry mystery, strength, and leadership. Every man has shadows. Every man has fears, regrets, emotional scars. But the strongest know when to shut up and hold frame, not spill their soul hoping for emotional intimacy. That's not intimacy. That's insecurity wearing a mask. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying lie. I'm not saying fake who you are. I'm saying you must control your narrative. What you say and what you withhold matters more than you think. Your words shape her perception of you. So in this video, I'm breaking down 5 secrets you, as a man, must never tell a woman. These are deal breakers, not because they're evil, but because they kill the way she sees you. Instantly, permanently. And once that perception changes, it's game over. Let's get into it. D1. You've been deeply heartbroken or obsessed with another woman. Let's not sugarcoat it. No woman wants to feel like your second choice. The moment you tell a woman, I was once so in love I couldn't sleep, eat, or breathe, you've just introduced a ghost into your relationship, a ghost that she can never outdo. And even worse, she starts to see you as emotionally weak. Here's the harsh reality most men ignore. Women want to be the center of your world, not a replacement for your past pain. When you open up about that one girl who broke you, who you never really got over, or how you would have done anything to win her back, it doesn't make you romantic. It makes you look broken. And broken doesn't equal attractive. Why? Because you're no longer leading. You're reliving. You're stuck in something you should have conquered, and that tells her you don't have control over your emotions. And make no mistake, control is power. The more emotionally obsessed you claim to have been, the less powerful you now seem. Even if she's not aware of it consciously, a woman's respect for you starts to slip the moment she realizes another woman once had you wrapped around her finger. She'll start wondering, if he was that lost over someone else, what happens if she comes back? Or worse, am I just a rebound? Even if you think you're being honest or just opening up, she's calculating something very different in her mind, your emotional fragility. Look, every man's had his heart kicked in. But the difference between boys and men is this. Men bury their scars under discipline and strength. Boys turn them into sad stories they tell women hoping to be comforted. And women don't want to comfort you. They want to admire you. Let me make it real. You meet a woman. Things are going great. You feel connected, open, comfortable. So you tell her about the one that got away. You expect empathy. What you get instead? Distance, coldness, suspicion. She's no longer trying to win you over. She's now wondering why she's competing with your past. Don't hand her the script where she plays second place. Some truths are better left untold. 2. You're struggling financially or feel lost in life. This one stings. But if you're a man, you need to hear it. Your problems aren't her responsibility, and your struggle isn't attractive. Now, don't misunderstand. Being broke isn't the issue. Every real man goes through tough seasons. Maybe you've lost your job, your business collapsed, or you just feel like life isn't making sense right now. That's human. That's real. But telling a woman, "I don't know what I'm doing with my life right now," is like handing her a red flag wrapped in insecurity. Because here's the harsh truth. Women don't love potential. They love progress. You might be grinding every day. You might have a big vision. But if you confess to her that you're financially down bad or mentally lost, you've just placed yourself beneath her protection. And the moment she starts to feel like she's the one leading you or holding you together, she slowly loses respect for you. Whether she says it out loud or not, a woman wants to feel like you know where you're going, even if you haven't arrived yet. She doesn't need you to be rich, but she needs to feel like you're in control, not just of your money, but of your direction, your mission, your mindset. When you tell a woman, "I feel stuck," you think she'll support you. What she hears is, "I'm unstable and I need someone to carry me emotionally." That's not sexy. That's pressure. And guess what? That pressure pushes her away. Not because she's evil, not because she's shallow, but because women are biologically wired to follow men who have direction, conviction, and drive. You don't have to fake success, but you must protect your frame. Speak like a man who's building, even if the bricks are still coming in. Never confess confusion or chaos. Instead, express confidence in the process, because when a woman senses you're unsure about your own life, she becomes unsure about you. Here's the mindset shift. Talk like a man with a mountain ahead, not like a man buried in a ditch. Let her see your ambition, not your anxiety. 3. You feel insecure about your masculinity or body. Let's not play games here. Masculinity is under attack, and a lot of men are secretly battling with how they see themselves. You scroll through social media, and everywhere you look, it's shredded dudes, flashy cars, six-figure success stories, and picture-perfect alpha males. You start comparing. You start shrinking. You start questioning if you're man enough. And the worst part? Some guys think the solution is confessing these insecurities to women, hoping it'll make the connection deeper. Nope. What it actually does is shift the power. The moment you say, "I hate the way I look," or "I don't feel manly enough," you unknowingly give her a role she didn't ask for, your emotional caretaker. That's not love. That's imbalance. And imbalance breeds disconnection. Here's what's real. Every man feels insecure at times, whether it's your height, your body, your voice, your money, or even how dominant you feel around other men. But voicing those insecurities to a woman doesn't remove them. It highlights them. And women don't ignore what you highlight. They build their entire image of you around it. You might think you're being honest. She sees it as weakness. You might think you're being vulnerable. She sees it as uncertainty. Here's what makes this one tough. You can't fake confidence forever. But you also can't announce your self-doubt, expecting validation. Because here's the truth. Validation from her will never fix how you see yourself as a man. Masculinity isn't about being perfect. It's about owning your flaws without being defined by them. It's about leading with self-respect, even when you don't have it all figured out. The moment you start putting your self-worth in her hands, you've already lost frame. She can love you. She can support you. But she will never build your masculinity for you. That's your job. So if you're feeling off, fix it behind closed doors. Get in the gym. Read. Level up. Build discipline. Win your private battles. Then show up to her world like a man who knows who he is, even if he's still becoming who he wants to be. 4. You think she's out of your league. This one's brutal, but it needs to be said. If you ever tell a woman she's out of your league, you've already put yourself beneath her. And once she feels that shift in power, she'll never unsee it. Let's be honest, bro. Too many men walk around like they're lucky just to be chosen. Like just having her around is some kind of prize they didn't deserve. It's weak. And women smell that energy a mile away. And here's the criticism. Men need to stop idolizing women like they're goddesses on a throne. Because the moment you do, you stop showing up like a king and start acting like a fan. Women don't fall for fans. They fall for equals. They fall for men who know their value, not ones constantly proving they're worthy. Look, it's one thing to appreciate a beautiful woman. It's another thing entirely to pedestal her so high that you forget you're bringing something to the table too. You think telling her, "I can't believe someone like you would go for a guy like me," sounds romantic? She hears, "I don't think I'm good enough for you," and eventually you'll realize it too. That's not love. That's insecurity dressed in compliments. Wake up. This belief that you're lucky to have her is a trap because it shifts your mindset from confidence to compliance. You start walking on eggshells. You don't lead. You don't set boundaries. You don't speak your truth. You just try not to mess things up. And once that happens, she loses respect. And once respect is gone, attraction follows. Fast. Here's what you need to understand. No matter how hot, smart, or successful she is still human. She's still figuring herself out. She's still doubting herself in ways you don't even see. The difference? She expects the man next to her to be grounded, even when she isn't. So stop acting like you're less than. You're not. You're not beneath her. You're not above her either. You're side by side with your own mission, your own value, your own presence. Stop begging to be chosen. Start living like the chooser. 5. You need her emotionally more than she needs you. This one is subtle, but dangerous. Most men don't even realize they're doing it. They think they're being loving, committed, all in. But the truth is, they're being emotionally needy. Let's get it straight. When a woman feels like she's your emotional oxygen, she starts to suffocate. She might not say it at first. She might even respond kindly. But over time, something shifts. She starts to pull away. She starts to test you. She starts to seem colder, more distant, less affectionate. Why? Because she feels the pressure of carrying your emotional state. When you make her your reason for happiness, your anchor, your source of peace, you put her in a role she didn't ask for. And deep down, she doesn't feel safe with that. Women want connection, yes. They want love. But they also want a man who can hold himself together, regardless of what she's doing. The moment she senses that your world starts and ends with her, she starts to lose faith in your strength. You think you're being sweet. She sees dependence. You think you're showing love. She sees emotional imbalance. It's not about acting cold. It's not about being detached. It's about this. You must be emotionally full, with or without her. Because when you're emotionally full, you don't come to her as a beggar. You come to her as a giver. As a man who has peace, purpose, focus, and is inviting her into that life, not clinging to her to complete it. Too many men wrap their identity around a woman. They wait for her texts, obsess over her moods, read into every silence. And the more they do that, the more they disappear in her eyes. You don't get respect from emotional neediness. You get it from emotional self-sufficiency. A man who can stand on his own without crumbling, begging, or panicking is a man a woman can truly trust. She should add to your emotional life, not be your emotional life. So if you feel like she's the one holding you together, it's time to hold yourself. 6. You've cried over her or begged in a past relationship. Men rarely talk about this one because it's painful, not just the experience itself, but what it reveals. Let's be honest. If you've ever found yourself crying on the floor, begging a woman not to leave, pleading for her to stay, to love you, to forgive you, you probably thought that was love. It wasn't. It was emotional survival mode. And now, you think sharing that pain with a new woman makes you real. But let me tell you something harsh, bro. It makes you look weak. Not because men shouldn't feel, but because once you admit that another woman had that much emotional control over you, you lose the frame in your current relationship. Why? Because women subconsciously remember one thing. How a man behaves at his lowest reveals who he really is. If she hears you've been on your knees, begging another woman who disrespected you or left you, she starts wondering, would he beg me if I left? Was he that desperate? Why did he allow himself to get to that point? And most dangerously, if he begged her, he might still want her. Even if you think you've healed, talking about those moments still opens up a window into a version of yourself that's not strong, not grounded, and definitely not leading. Here's the thing most guys miss. Masculinity is calm in chaos. It's composure under pressure. It's emotional control when everything's falling apart. The moment you tell a woman you lost that over another woman, she doesn't just see your pain. She sees you as unstable under emotional stress. And once she questions your stability, attraction starts to crumble. Again, this isn't about pretending you've never been hurt. It's about knowing what needs to stay in the past. Because when you bring that energy into something new, you're not starting fresh. You're dragging old wounds into a space that was supposed to feel safe. Be honest with yourself, but not with everyone. Some moments were meant for your own reflection, not her understanding. If you cried, if you begged, if you lost yourself in a past relationship, learn from it. Don't wear it like a badge, because she won't salute you for it. 7. You don't have male friends or a strong circle. This one right here, it silently ruins the way women see you. You might think it's not a big deal. You might say, I just keep to myself, or I'm more comfortable around women. But when a woman realizes you have no close male friends, no brotherhood, no tribe, something in her shifts, and she might not even know why. But I'll tell you, she stops feeling safe. Here's the deal. Men without male circles often come off as unstable. Not because you're broken, but because your masculine energy isn't being sharpened. Iron sharpens iron. And if you're never around other strong men, she knows you're not being challenged, held accountable, or called higher. That matters. Women want to feel like the man they're with is respected by other men. They want to feel like you're anchored in something beyond just her. Because if she's your entire world, emotionally, socially, psychologically, it becomes too much. It's pressure, not partnership. And here's the cold part. When she realizes you don't have brothers around you, she starts to wonder what's wrong. Why don't other men trust him? Why doesn't anyone follow him? Is he weak? Is he weird? Is he hiding something? She might never say these words out loud, but the vibe changes. And now here's the uncomfortable truth. Men without male allies tend to over-rely on their women. You vent to her. You emotionally dump on her. You lean on her for advice, support, direction, purpose, everything. And soon, she's not your woman anymore. She's your therapist, your coach, your emotional crutch. She didn't sign up for that. A woman wants to feel chosen, desired, pursued, not like she's filling the void of 10 missing friendships. That's draining, and it kills attraction over time. So if your circle is empty, build one. Find real brothers. Get around men who call you out, call you up, and remind you who you are. Because when a woman sees you're respected by other solid men, she sees a man worth respecting herself. 8. You've been cheated on and still feel the sting. Look, getting cheated on is brutal. No man walks away from that kind of betrayal untouched. It cuts deep. It hits your pride, your ego, your masculinity. And if you've been through it, you know it can mess with your head for years. But here's the hard truth you need to hear. Telling a woman that you've been cheated on and that it still bothers you is a huge mistake. You may think it'll make her feel like you're more human, more open, more real, but in reality, it makes you look like a man who's still bleeding. And no woman wants to date a man who's still emotionally wounded from another woman. What she hears isn't just, "I've been hurt." What she really hears is, "I don't fully trust women anymore. I might be insecure or controlling. I carry baggage that hasn't been handled. And worst of all, another woman once had the power to break me." That's not strength. That's emotional vulnerability with no frame around it. Now don't get it twisted. Healing from betrayal is real work, but you don't need to process it with her. That's what your silence, your self-work, your discipline, and your brotherhood is for. She doesn't need to know how destroyed you once were. She only needs to see the man who came out of the fire. Because once you confess that another woman betrayed you and you're still affected by it, even a little, two things happen. She starts to compare herself to that woman. Even if she's better in every way, she now knows another woman got to you more than she has. She questions your emotional stability. If you're still hurt, are you still guarded? Are you still afraid? Will you start doubting her too? And here's the deeper issue. A man who hasn't fully healed becomes paranoid, clingy, suspicious, and emotionally reactive, even if you don't realize it. So what's the move? You deal with that pain in silence. You grow past it. You forgive in private. You level up in public. And you show up as a man who's been through war, but refuses to bleed on the woman who didn't cut him. 9. You overthink everything she says or does. Here's the truth. The moment she senses that you're constantly in your head about her, she stops trusting your energy. Why? Because overthinking is the death of masculine presence. It's not confidence. It's not control. It's emotional chaos dressed in silence. You think you're being careful, calculating, analyzing. She sees a man who doesn't trust himself, and worse, a man who doesn't trust her. This shows up in small ways. You reread her texts 10 times before replying. You overanalyze her tone when she said, "I'm fine." You obsess over why she took 3 hours to respond. You ask her too often, "Are we okay?" Or, "Did I do something wrong?" All of that might seem innocent, even caring. But to her, it's heavy, it's insecure, it's unattractive. Masculine energy is calm, it's grounded. It doesn't get rattled by mixed signals or confusing moments. It stands firm. When you overthink, you're basically telling her, "I don't feel safe unless I have constant emotional reassurance." And that's a red flag she won't ignore. Look, women want to feel your attention, not your anxiety. When she notices that you're constantly doubting yourself, constantly trying to decode her behavior, constantly seeking validation, she stops relaxing in your presence. Because now she feels like she has to lead the emotional vibe. That's the opposite of polarity. You want to know what really makes her feel safe? When you don't flinch. When she can be unpredictable, emotional, even chaotic. And you're still unmoved, focused, in control. But you can't do that if your head is filled with what-ifs and mental gymnastics every time she texts differently or seems distant. A man who overthinks is a man who overreacts. And a man who overreacts becomes a man she can't trust to lead. So here's the fix. Stop obsessing over what every little thing means. Stop waiting for the perfect signal before you speak, act, or lead. Trust yourself. Because the second she sees you don't, she'll stop trusting you too. 10. You don't have a plan or purpose yet. Let's be real, man. You cannot afford to be floating through life anymore. And if you think admitting to a woman that you don't really know what you want yet, or are just going with the flow, makes you seem chill, open-minded, or nonchalant, it doesn't. It makes you forgettable. There's nothing appealing to a woman about a man with no direction. He can be funny, attractive, charming, but if she senses he's just figuring it out and that there's no mission driving him, she will never fully respect him. Even if she doesn't say it, even if she's polite and says, "It's okay, everyone's still finding themselves." The truth is, she's mentally filing you under temporary, because the masculine role in any relationship is about more than just presence. It's about leadership, vision, purpose. A man who doesn't know where he's going cannot lead a woman anywhere worth following. And here's what most guys get wrong. They think having a plan means already being successful. It doesn't. You could still be broke, still be on the climb, still be learning. But if she feels that you're on a path, that you have fire in your chest and goals in your head, she respects that. But if you shrug and say things like, "I'm just vibing right now. I don't know what I want yet. I'm still figuring life out," she hears, "I'm not dependable. I'm not stable. I can't be trusted with her future, or even my own." And once she feels that, she may still hang around, but she'll never submit. She'll never surrender. She'll never truly relax into your leadership, because there's no leadership to relax into. So here's the wake-up call. You don't have to be there yet, but you do need to be going somewhere. You need to speak like a man with vision. Walk like a man with direction. Live like a man who's building something bigger than himself, because purpose isn't optional. It's masculine oxygen. Without it, you're just another man hoping love will give his life meaning. And trust me, that's exactly the kind of man she'll never give her life to. Let me leave you with this. The moment a woman knows everything about you, she stops feeling anything for you. It sounds harsh, but it's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Mystery creates respect, control builds attraction, and silence, when used with wisdom, is power. As a man, your strength isn't just in what you show, it's in what you withhold. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to fake anything. But if you hand over every secret, every scar, every soft spot too soon, you kill her curiosity, her trust, and eventually her desire. So be smart, be grounded, be in control of your story. Let her earn the layers. Drop a comment below. Have you ever shared something you wish you hadn't? Or maybe you've seen a woman change after you opened up. I want to hear your story. I respond personally to as many of you as I can. Let's build something real, man to man. This isn't just content. This is brotherhood. Until next time, stay sharp, stay solid, stay silent where it matters.